Revealed. Incredible cleaning lady's heartwarming act saves Millionaire'S special daughter. Maria woke before dawn, her tired eyes searching for light that had yet to arrive. Every morning, her ritual began in the same way. The sound of her old coffee maker sputtering, the scent of brewing coffee filling the small kitchen as she prepped breakfast for her 2 children. They were still nestled under their blankets, innocent and dreaming, secure in the knowledge that Mom was there, fighting every day for their better future. She couldn't give them the life she yearned for, but she could give them hope. When she stepped into Richard's house, the opulence struck her every time. It was a world away from her own, a realm where everything was polished and perfect. Yet somehow, within those walls, shadows lingered. Richard was a businessman with no time for distractions, especially not his daughter, Sofia. Sofia, with her kind eyes and beautiful spirit, floated through the mansion like a whisper of wind. She was often unseen, overlooked in the immensity of her father's ambition. But to Maria, Sofia was not invisible. When the weekly cleaning day arrived, a magic sort of kinship blossomed amidst the dust and shine. They painted and created together glittering unicorns and suns beaming with joy. Maria saw not a child with special needs, but a beautiful soul yearning for connection. Their laughter danced through the lavish wood halls, a heartwarming melody that echoed in Maria's spirit. Yet it was Richard's world, a world that demanded everything from him, from money to time, and often left no room for love. As the weeks unfolded, Richard's business faced losses. Each meeting was filled with grim faces. The first night he sighed about cutting costs, Maria's stomach twisted. Could she lose this connection that meant so much? He didn't know how Sofia came alive when Maria was there. She was shaping the little girl's heart in ways he was blind to. Sofia, perched on her bed one afternoon, was engulfed by shadows that wove through her mind. She went unnoticed as Richard buried himself under heaps of paperwork. Maria saw it, the sadness etched on Sofia's face. She remembered the warmth between them. It flickered, and soon, it might go out. The thought hollowed Maria's chest. Just then, a light flickered in her heart. She had grown to love this child, and by extension, she had grown to love the hope that lay in their friendship. Maria would fight for Sofia, even if it meant risking her own job. It was more than just cleaning for Richard. It was about nurturing the spirit of love and joy in a little girl often left in the shadows. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Richard soon faced the crossroads of his decision. He had always equated success with money, and Maria's presence was a luxury he might have to sacrifice. As he weighed options, a revelation struck him. Sofia had changed. She laughed more. Her eyes sparkled when Maria was around. He hadn't realized the depth of their bond. But now, he felt the risk of losing more than just a cleaning lady. In this moment of reckoning, Maria pulled her cards to the forefront. She wouldn't stand down. Not for herself, not for her family, but for Sofia, the girl who had captivated her heart. Would Richard understand? Or would he be too engulfed in his world of wealth to acknowledge the invaluable beauty of human connection? With life hanging in the balance, the next chapter of their lives began to unfold. One uncertain yet filled with potential. Maria stood in her own kitchen, the aroma of her freshly brewed coffee grounding her amidst swirling thoughts. She couldn't shake the unease that nestled within her, not after hearing Richard's concerns about the financial strain weighing down on his family. She thought of Sofia, how the little girl would often peek out from behind her art supplies, hopeful and excited whenever Maria entered their lavish home. The realization that this joyful connection could vanish left a chill in her bones. This wasn't just about cleaning a house. This was about saving something far more precious: the spark in Sofia's eyes, the giggles they shared over art projects, and the hopes they woven together like colorful threads in a tapestry. Maria's heart beat faster as she contemplated her choices. Could she speak up to Richard? Could she convince him that what Sofia needed couldn't be measured in dollars? Meanwhile, at Richard's office, paperwork sprawled across his desk like a chaotic landscape, threatening to swallow him whole. He sat, head in hands, contemplating the reality of his decisions. His instincts screamed that he needed to cut costs, but a small, retreating voice whispered about Maria and the happiness she brought into his daughter's life. It wasn't just cleaning. It was healing. Richard looked out the towering windows of his office, where the city sprawled before him like a glittering facade. He saw something different through the glass today, a little girl painting, lost in her world, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Maria's gentle guidance had offered Sofia a chance to express herself. Maybe this was worth protecting. The idea clawed at him. Would prioritizing profits over Sofia's happiness truly make him successful? Back in the warm sunshine of her modest home, Maria felt an urge to take action. She gathered the courage to write a heartfelt letter, explaining how truly valuable her time with Sofia had become. She poured her love and understanding into every word. The ink filled with emotions spoken in laughter and shared silence, moments that would mean so much more than a paycheck. This wasn't just about losing a job. It was about losing Sofia's joy, her very essence. As Maria delicately sealed the envelope, a familiar weight settled on her chest. Fear. What if Richard didn't understand? What if he dismissed her concerns as trivial? Tears pricked at her eyes, and she fought to keep them at bay. That evening, Richard returned home late, the day heavy on his shoulders. He found Maria's letter on the kitchen table, the faint scent of her coffee mingling with the tender words on the page. As he read, his heart twisted with a surge of emotions. The line between business and heart began to blur, and for the first time, he felt the righteousness of Maria's plea. But could he act on it? The stakes felt impossibly high. He had always been the man of numbers, and Maria's emotional appeal struck a chord he hadn't anticipated. Before he could ponder further, a small voice broke through the silence. "Dad, can we paint together tomorrow?" Sofia's hopeful inquiry hung in the air like a promise. Richard turned to her, the turmoil in his heart battling against the weight of responsibility. The next morning, Maria's life was about to change. Little did she know, Richard would be transformed by her words, challenged to see love beyond the boardroom. But would he be brave enough to keep Sofia's laughter alive, to choose the connection over the chaos of success? As dawn broke, casting golden rays through the mansion, decisions loomed. Would Richard choose his daughter's happiness, or would he revert to old ways? The clock ticked on as hope hung in the air, waiting for a moment that might just change everything. As the sun climbed higher, its rays glistening off the glass of Richard's office building, he sat in stillness, the weight of Maria's letter heavy in his mind. The juxtaposition of financial deadlines and the joy of his daughter felt like a tug-of-war in his heart. "Dad, can we paint together tomorrow?" Sofia's sweet voice echoed in his thoughts. It had become a recurring question, one that brought genuine light into their home, despite the shadows of stress that loomed. Richard's heart sank at the thought of disappointing her. While lost in contemplation, a knock on the door pulled him from his worries. Lisa, his assistant, stepped in with a stack of papers. "Richard, we need to go over these next quarter projections," she said, her tone brisk and businesslike. He nodded absently, still haunted by the image of Maria kneeling beside Sofia, guiding her brushstrokes. "Let us move that to next week," he replied, surprising himself. "Next week? We're on a tight schedule, it can wait," he interrupted, surprising even himself. The decision rippled through his day like a pebble tossed into a pond. Later that afternoon, Sofia burst into his office, artwork in hand, a vibrant swirl of colors and shapes. "Dad, look," she exclaimed, twirling in delight. The painting was chaotic yet beautiful, much like her spirit. Richard knelt to her level, absorbing her joy. He grinned. "It's fantastic, Sophie. You've captured the colors of the sunset perfectly." For a moment the world outside faded away. The stress of financial reports and looming deadlines seemed so far from this glorious moment of connection. "Can we make more tomorrow?" she asked, eyes wide with hope. "Yes, we can," he said, conviction swelling within him like a tide. Richard was beginning to realize he had a choice to make. He picked up Maria's letter from his desk and read it again, letting her words wash over him. This isn't just about cleaning. He felt the depth of her plea sink into his bones. He could feel the weight of those innocent giggles, the spark of creativity ignited in Sofia, and the realization hit him like a flash of lightning. Richard took a deep breath, a new determination settling within him. He could no longer see Maria solely as a cleaning lady. She was a vital part of his daughter's happiness. What if he charged less for her services? What if they could find a way to ensure that the joy Sofia found in art would not be compromised? The evening stretched on, and Richard set aside his paperwork. He grabbed a blank sheet and began to write a response to Maria, articulating his newfound commitment to Sofia's joy. Each word poured forth, reflecting his heart's revelation. Meanwhile, Maria was restless in her small living room, the letter from Richard still tucked away in her mind, waiting. The yearning to hear back from him gnawed at her heart. She glanced out the window, watching the light begin to fade, an inevitable end to the day that brought nothing but uncertainty. Her phone buzzed unexpectedly, the sound jolting her thoughts. It was a message from Richard, illuminating her screen. "Can we talk?" Maria's breath caught in her throat. Her heart raced. What could this mean? Had she made an impression? With hope intertwining with fear, Maria felt a spark ignite within her. She had no idea that Richard was about to reshape everything for his daughter and herself. Could this be the start of change for them all? Each moment felt amplified, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for their next move. Maria sat on the edge of her couch, eyes glued to her phone. The bright screen seemed to pulse in her hand, echoing her racing heartbeat. "Can we talk?" The words were straightforward yet filled with possibility. She pondered for a moment, trying to quell the storm of emotions that surged within her. What could Richard want to discuss? The imagery of his office, of him deep in thought, weighed heavily on her mind. She pushed her worries aside, reminding herself that this was a chance, an opportunity for everything to shift. Taking a deep breath, she quickly typed, "Yes, when?" and hit send. The joyful anticipation danced through her as she exhaled, waiting for his reply. Richard was pacing the floor of his office, anticipation thrumming through him as he looked at the message that had just popped up on his screen. He hadn't fully considered what he wanted from this conversation, only that it felt necessary. He realized he had to be honest, both with Maria and with himself. "Can you meet me at the cafe around the corner in 30 minutes? He typed, pressing send before he could change his mind. As he prepared to leave, Richard felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. What would he say? Would Maria understand his heart? Sofia's laughter echoed in the back of his mind, a gentle reminder of what truly mattered. In just moments he was out the door and on the street, every step fueling his resolve. The cafe was a cozy little spot, filled with the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the soft murmur of conversation. As he entered, he spotted Maria, fidgeting nervously, hands clasped together on the table as if trying to hold everything steady. "Hey," he said, sliding into the seat across from her, heart racing. "Hi," she managed, her voice soft but steady. "Thanks for asking to meet." Richard studied her face. There was a mix of hope and uncertainty in her eyes, much like the emotions swirling within him. "I've been thinking a lot about our situation," he started, his words tumbling one after another. "Your letter really made me reconsider things. Sofia talks about you all the time, and I realize that joy is what she needs." Maria perked up, heart warming with each word. "I just want her to be happy. She has such a bright light." "Yes," he agreed passionately, leaning in. "And I want to support that. I was thinking, I could lower the amount I pay you for cleaning and we could make sure Sofia has the art supplies she needs. Maybe you could paint with her more? Create more of those beautiful moments." There was a moment of silence as Maria absorbed his words. Light gleamed in her eyes, and she drew a shaky breath. Are you sure? I mean, definitely, he interrupted, laughter bubbling in his throat. If it means seeing her smile and sharing her creations. Absolutely. Maria's heart swelled. This was more than just a deal. It was an invitation into a better world. A place where she could know and nourish Sofia's creativity. Thank you, Richard, she whispered, overwhelmed by gratitude. This means everything. Richard smiled, feeling as if the weight of countless days lifted just a little. They exchanged plans, possibilities blooming naturally between them. The conversation flowed, ideas bursting forth. They were not just a businessman and a cleaning lady anymore, but collaborators in a shared vision for Sofia's joyful world. As they finished their coffee, Richard felt a sense of relief wash over him. In that small cafe, a door had opened. But just as quickly, a new thought tugged at his heart. Would they be able to keep this light amidst the challenges that lay ahead? And so, as they stood to leave, with hope bubbling in their chests, Richard knew their journey was only just beginning. Could they keep the light alive against all odds? Would this bond be enough to weather the difficulties ahead? Walking out of the cafe, the sunshine felt like a warm embrace. Maria and Richard stepped side by side, a comfortable silence settling between them. Each moment was filled with unspoken promises and a cautious joy, their nervous laughter mingling with the bustling sounds of the city. As they reached the street corner, Richard turned to Maria, his expression serious yet warm. You know, this is just the beginning, right? There may be days when everything feels heavy. Maria nodded, biting her lip, the weight of uncertainty creeping back into her mind. I understand that. Life isn't always easy. But I believe in what we're trying to create for Sofia. Her voice was steady, but her heart raced at the thought of how complicated things could get. Richard placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, and the gesture sparked a rush of warmth within her. I promise to do my best, he said softly, meeting her gaze. We're on the same team now. Just then, Sofia's high-pitched laughter echoed down the street, and both turned to see the little girl running toward them. Her ponytails bounced as she sprinted, arms wide open, ready to leap into Richard's embrace. Maria watched with a growing smile, the simple joy on Sofia's face igniting a flame of hope inside her. Dad, I missed you, Sofia exclaimed, wrapping her arms around Richard. He picked her up effortlessly, spinning her around while her giggles chimed like sweet music. Maria's heart swelled, her eyes glistening as she witnessed this intimate moment. It made her yearn to create memories like these with Sofia, to be a part of her world in a more meaningful way. Yet the small voice of doubt insisted on reminding her of their differences, of how this world felt way too far from her own. Look, Maria, I painted a picture for you, Sofia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with pride. She held out a colorful piece of paper, its edges crumpled but the vibrant strokes of paint radiating life. Maria took the drawing, a wave of emotion crashing over her. Oh wow, this is beautiful, Sofia. You've got a real talent. She could see the love and joy pouring from the paper, each color a glimpse into Sofia's bright spirit. Thanks. Can we paint together tomorrow? Sofia asked, bouncing on her toes. Maria exchanged a glance with Richard, a silent understanding passing between them. Of course. We can make a beautiful mess together, she replied, trying to keep her enthusiasm at bay. Knowing the tears threatening her eyes were ones of joy, Richard's smile was wide, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. But as they walked home, Maria's heart weighed heavier with thoughts of how fragile this painted vision of happiness might be. What if she couldn't balance everything? What if doubts began to creep back into her mind? Hey, can I show you my paints? Sofia pulled Maria from her thoughts, her excitement infectious. Yes, I love that, Maria responded, squeezing her hand. As they strolled, the laughter and chatter wrapped around them like a protective bubble, but the challenges still loomed in the background, invisible threats to their newfound connection. Later that evening, as Maria lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that this world was something she might not be able to hold on to forever. What if she let Richard down? What if he realized she was unworthy of helping his daughter? Struggling with her emotions, she closed her eyes, willing the doubts to fade, focusing instead on the hopeful laughter she heard that day. Just as she began to drift off, a thought struck her. What if tomorrow, what if it brought the fear right back? But the real question lingered like an echo: would their bond be strong enough to face what was yet to come? Would she find the courage to embrace the beauty of this new life? The morning arrived with a soft, golden glow filtering through Maria's bedroom window. The world outside was crisp and vibrant, yet inside her chest, a storm brewed. Today would be the day she painted with Sofia. The very thought made her heart flutter and sink all at once as she dressed. Maria thought of the little girl with the sparkling eyes and boundless energy. How lucky Sofia was to see the world in such bright colors. But what if Maria couldn't match that enthusiasm? What if she disappointed her? With a deep breath, she pushed those thoughts aside. Today was about hope, about creating bonds. When she stepped into the kitchen, she found Richard already preparing breakfast, his back turned to her. The scent of pancakes wafted through the air, wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. She smiled at the domesticity of it all, a small piece of happiness unfurling within her. "Good morning." Richard turned, his face lighting up with a smile that made her heart skip. "I was just about to make some extra pancakes. Sofia loves them." "Smells amazing," Maria said, pouring herself a cup of coffee. The morning felt alive with possibilities. A few moments later, Sofia bounded into the room, her canvas bag swinging by her side. "Maria, are you ready for painting?" she chirped, her little face alight with excitement. Maria's heart melted. "Absolutely. Just let me finish my coffee, and then we can get started." "Can we make a rainbow?" Sofia asked, bouncing on her toes. "I want it to be the biggest one ever." "Sure thing." Maria chuckled, suddenly realizing she was as eager as Sofia was. She wanted to make that rainbow, not just on canvas but also in her heart, a bridge spanning the gaps of doubt that sometimes felt insurmountable. After breakfast, they set up in the living room, vivid colors laid out before them like the ingredients of a magical potion. The room buzzed with laughter and chatter as they squeezed paint onto their palettes. Richard lingered, watching them with a soft expression. "It's like seeing you both come to life," he commented, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Come on, join us," Sofia pleaded, her hands smeared in bright paint. "You can help. We need a lot of hands for a big rainbow." Maria's heart danced at Sofia's invitation, but she felt a pang of uncertainty. What if Richard didn't want to, and what if he didn't want to see her in this light? "I think it's best if I stay the master observer," Richard replied, smirking. "I have 2 artists here to work with, and you guys seem to have it all under control." With the final pinprick of hesitation gone, Maria dipped her brush into the blue paint, feeling the familiar thrill of creation surge within her. They painted with laughter, splatters flying and colors blending as they unleashed their imaginations. Maria found herself forgetting the weight of expectations, lost in the joy of the moment. Yet, beneath the laughter was a nagging thought, a whisper of doubt that she couldn't quite shake. Would these moments be enough? Would they last? As the sun began to set, shedding a warm light into the room, Maria took a step back, admiring their creation. The canvas was a riot of colors, a jumble of vibrant swirls that told their story. But it was Sofia's laughter that truly painted Maria's heart. "Look, we did it!" Sofia shouted, hands raised in triumph, her smile radiant. As Richard snapped a photo, Maria felt a flicker of something deep and genuine stir within her. Maybe this was the beginning of something beautiful, but the uncertainty lingered, dancing just outside her vision. Then, without warning, Sofia stopped, her eyes narrowing slightly as she looked at Maria. "Are you going to paint with us all the time, Maria? You promise?" Those words hit Maria like a wave, and for a moment, she was silent. The vulnerability in Sofia's question stripped her bare, forcing her to face the truth that she didn't know. Did she have it in her to be a part of this family, to provide what Sofia truly needed? The air thickened with unspoken thoughts. Maria looked at Richard, searching for a sign of what would come next. When she realized she wasn't ready for the answer. Maria started, her heart pounding. "I hope so, I really do." But as she said those words, could she promise to protect this little heart, to embrace all the beauty and pain interwoven in their journey. What came next would challenge everything: her hopes, her fears, and her very identity. Would she have the strength to face it all? Maria's mind swirled as she processed Sofia's question. The weight of it pressed down on her, tangling with the joy of the day. The room was filled with color, laughter, and the smell of fresh paint, but a shadow crept in, a whisper of doubt clawing at her heart. "I promise," she repeated softly, almost to herself. Sofia's smile lit up, but Maria could see it was more than a child's joy. It was a heartfelt connection, a plea for stability. Maria wanted to give her that, but the uncertainty lingered. What if tomorrow brought another storm? "Let us make another rainbow tomorrow," Sofia exclaimed, hopping over to inspect their masterpiece. Maria marveled at how one tiny voice could shift the atmosphere from fear to hope. "Why not? We can make a whole garden of rainbows," Maria replied, her voice catching in her throat. "Yeah," Sofia squealed. "And I can show you how to make sparkly stars too. Can we, Daddy?" Richard chuckled, leaning back against the wall. "Stars and rainbows? Huh? Sounds like a busy schedule." Maria caught his eye, and for a brief moment, a silent understanding passed between them. She saw his encouragement hidden behind his teasing words, a glimmer of belief that perhaps today was just the beginning. With their canvas drying by the window, the sunlight poured in, igniting a sense of warmth. Maria squeezed Sofia's hand, recalling a time when she was a little girl, sitting on a dusty porch with her own dreams swirling in her mind. Memories flooded her sketchbook with its imperfect drawings, the love of a warm family that felt distant now. She realized as much as she wanted to create something beautiful for Sofia, she also needed to reclaim her own lost spark. "Do you want to help me with dinner now?" Richard suggested, pulling Maria from her thoughts. "I could use an extra set of hands." "I can help," Sofia chimed in, still buzzing with energy. "I'm the best helper." A gentle smile crept onto Maria's face. It felt like an invitation, a soft nudge to become more than just a guest in their lives. "All right, chefs in training, let us head to the kitchen." As they moved to the kitchen, Maria felt a sense of excitement blooming inside her. They chopped vegetables, and laughter filled the air, mingling with the sound of sizzling in the pan. Maria could see how simple moments were knitted together with love, shaping generations of memories. Sofia was a whirlwind around the counter, her tiny hands working diligently. "Maria, do you think we can make something magical?" she asked with wide eyes. "Absolutely," Maria answered, her heart swelling with emotion. Magic is just a little love mixed with creativity. But inside, doubt lingered. Could she really weave herself into the fabric of this family? Would her past haunt her? Or could she truly start anew? Shoulders straight and heart open? She didn't want to be the woman who failed to rise to the challenge, but vulnerability felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. "Hey, you two," Richard interjected, breaking her thoughts before they spiraled further. "Dinner's looking good, but let us save some room for dessert." He winked at Sofia, who giggled, losing the last scraps of paint on her fingers as the meal came together. Maria felt the weight lighten just a bit. The more moments she shared with them, the closer she felt, like she was slowly allowing herself to uncoil the tightly wound ribbons of fear within. But there was still an unasked question lingering in the back of her mind. Could she be the woman they needed? As dinner concluded and laughter echoed around the kitchen, Maria caught Sofia staring at her. "Can you read me a story tonight before bed?" The hope in her voice hit Maria hard, sending ripples of warmth through her chest. Of course, Maria agreed immediately, an answer that surprised even her. But as she prepared to tuck Sofia in later, a new worry loomed larger than her previous doubts. What if she couldn't find the right story? What if, after so much progress today, her past crashed down and changed everything? While preparing, the uncertainty gnawed at her. "What if I can't live up to your expectations?" she whispered to herself, as shadows danced on the walls, the weight of her every hidden fear pressing down. And then, just as she was about to close the book, Maria felt a spark of courage, a gentle reminder that every great story begins with the leap of faith. But could her leap be big enough to change her own narrative? To step into the pages of a family's life already written? What if she could reshape this story into something new, something that could last? Maria tucked the brightly colored, plush blanket around Sofia, its texture soft against her fingertips. The room was dim, with only the gentle light of a bedside lamp illuminating the scattered toys and storybooks that filled the space. She opened the book, its pages frail and filled with illustrations that danced with life. "What story are we reading tonight?" Sofia asked, her eyes shining with anticipation. "This one's called The Starry Sky," Maria said, her heart racing a bit. Even as she spoke, doubt flickered in her mind. Did she have the voice to bring it to life? "Will we see stars tonight?" Sofia's question cut through her uncertainty like a warm knife through butter. "I think we can," Maria replied, taking a deep breath. "But the best way to see them is to believe in their magic." She began to read, and as the characters came alive in Sofia's imagination, Maria found herself slipping into the story too. The bright, fluttering worlds escaped the page and warmed her heart. Each word was an affirmation, a little promise to emerge from the shadows of her past. As she turned the page, Sofia snuggled closer, her small head resting against Maria's shoulder. "Can I be your star?" she whispered, her tiny voice barely above a breath. "You already are, sweet girl," Maria said, her voice thick with emotion. "You light up the whole sky." At that moment, she knew this was more than just a bedtime story. It was a lifeline, a way for her spirit to intertwine with Sofia's in a beautiful dance of love and hope. But as the story reached its climax, a sudden wave of fear crashed over her. What if she couldn't be the light in Sofia's life? What if tomorrow she made a mistake, or the past found its way to the surface? "Can we make stars in our garden tomorrow?" Sofia's voice brought her back, full of dreams and sincerity. "Absolutely," Maria said, fully present now, warmth flooding through her. "We'll make the biggest and brightest stars. We can even make a wish when we finish. That's the best." Sofia clapped her hands, her enthusiasm contagious. Maria felt the corners of her mouth lifting, her worries momentarily forgotten. After they finished the story, Sofia's eyelids drooped, and her breathing softened as she drifted into dreams. Maria quietly rose, careful not to disturb her, the weight of her doubts beginning to lift. Before leaving the room, she looked back, taking in the sight of the girl she had grown to love in just a short time. The hallway felt different as she made her way back to the living room. Instead of feeling like an outsider, she sensed a belonging. The walls filled up with the laughter and love shared with Richard and Sofia. Richard stood at the kitchen counter, tidying up. He turned to her, a smile lighting his face. "How did it go?" "Really well," Maria replied, her heart swelling with achievement. But as the words left her lips, doubt knocked again. What if I can't keep this up? What if Sofia deserves someone better? Richard stepped closer, his expression earnest. She doesn't need someone better. She wants you, and so do I. His words wrapped around her, warming her against the chill of uncertainty. There was a kindness in his voice, a promise of encouragement that made her believe. Just a little more as they moved to clean the kitchen together. Laughter slid between them, and Maria felt lighter. Yet, the evening's calm concealed a question lurking in the corner of her thoughts. How far would she need to go to fully open her heart, and could she manage it without being scared of falling? Richard's voice broke into her reverie. "Do you think you can help me with something tomorrow?" The warmth in his tone sent butterflies dancing in her stomach. Was this an invitation to step further into their lives? Or was it a step into the unknown, a plunge into something deeper, maybe even life-changing? Curiosity sparkled in her chest like the stars they had imagined, and as she met his gaze, she felt a spark of determination. But nestled within that determination was another lingering doubt. Was she truly ready for what he would ask next? Tomorrow would unveil that truth, perhaps in a way that would leave all of them changed forever. Morning light filtered through the kitchen window as Maria poured coffee into her favorite mug, its surface still warm from the heat of the freshly brewed caffeine. Richard was already there, a reassuring presence that seemed to ease the slight flutter of nerves in her stomach. "Good morning," he said, his voice still raspy with sleep. He grabbed a piece of toast from the counter. "Are you ready for today?" Maria nodded, though her thoughts were racing like startled birds. Today felt different. The weight of yesterday's uncertainties clung to her, but she was determined to shake it off. "What do you need help with exactly?" she asked, stirring her coffee, hoping to channel courage from the steam rising. Richard smiled, setting his toast down. "I thought it'd be nice if we organized the garage. My dad kept a lot of tools from his old projects, and I think it would be good to sort through it all. Make the space more usable." "Sounds simple enough," she replied, even as her heart hummed with apprehension. The garage was more than just a storage area. It was a reflection of unfinished stories, of memories Richard didn't often share. Would this be a chance to learn more about him? Would it draw her closer to that hidden depth in his eyes she often glimpsed but could never quite reach? After breakfast, they stood side by side in the garage, cold concrete underfoot and shadows lingering in corners. The air smelled faintly of oil and dust. Richard pulled a metal toolbox from a high shelf, its surface covered in grime. "Here, can you hold this while I grab that ladder?" Maria took it, feeling the weight of something larger than just a toolbox. It felt like a portal, a bridge into Richard's past and their potential future. "So, what kind of projects did your dad do?" she asked, trying to ease the silence. "He was always working on something," Richard said, reaching for the ladder. "From fixing cars to building furniture. He was very hands-on." He paused, scratching his head. "Maybe that's why I never learned about it. I didn't want to get my hands dirty." He chuckled lightly, but there was a hint of sadness in his voice. "Why not?" Maria asked gently. Aware of the vulnerability peeking through, he shrugged, his expression thoughtful. "I think I was scared of failing, maybe a bit of not living up to his expectations." His shadow felt too big. The honesty hung between them, connecting them in a way Maria hadn't expected. "You're not in his shadow, Richard. You're your own person," she said softly, her heart racing. A warmth spread inside her, igniting courage she didn't know she had. He turned to her, his brows furrowed. "Thank you, Maria. That means a lot." There was a moment, just a fleeting second, when their eyes locked and the world outside faded slightly, a connection blooming amidst the dusty memories. As they continued to clean, stacking boxes and sorting tools, laughter filled the garage. Felt good, freeing. They found a forgotten bicycle, rusted but still beautiful in its old-fashioned way. "Want to take it for a spin?" Richard teased, a glint of boyish mischief in his eyes. "Only if you promise not to let me fall." Maria laughed, her heart pumping with a mixture of excitement and fear. This was new territory. Moments like these made her realize how much she had started to care for him. But just as she felt herself floating on the edge of something promising, a sound jolted her from her thoughts, the unmistakable ring of Richard's phone. He glanced at the screen, his expression shifting to concern. "It's my sister. I need to take this." He walked away, leaving Maria alone in the dimly lit garage, her heart fluttering in confusion. Would their fragile connection still be intact when he returned? Or would reality, like some unwelcome specter, disrupt the beautiful time they were building? As she stood there, sorting through the memories tucked away in each box, she couldn't shake the feeling that the day was far from over. What would Richard's sister need? Would it bring them closer as a family, or would it test the bonds they were trying to build? In that moment of quiet, Maria resolved to hold on to the strength she felt. She could be the light for Sofia, for Richard, and maybe even for herself. But how much light could one person give before they risked being dimmed themselves? The question lingered, heavy in the air, and she knew their journey was just beginning. As the day turned into night, the garage had transformed. Richard and Maria stood back, surveying their hard work. They had cleared out years of clutter, unearthing memories in forgotten boxes, tucked away pieces of Richard's past that brought both laughter and bittersweet nostalgia. "Look at this," Richard exclaimed, pulling out an old baseball glove stained with age. "We used to play catch every summer. My dad would always catch my wild throws." Maria smiled, her heart warming at the image he painted with his words. Each item they uncovered was another thread weaving their lives together, drawing them closer. As the last box made its way to the curb for donation, Richard turned to Maria, looking serious yet hopeful. "I want to thank you for today. I didn't just clear out a garage, I cleared out some things inside too." His voice was soft but filled with palpable gratitude. Maria felt an overflow of emotions. His words struck a chord deep within her. "I feel the same. I can't believe how much it means to me to be part of this." His eyes locked onto hers, and in that moment, something shifted. The air around them thickened with the weight of unsaid feelings, the fear dissipating, making room for the budding affection that had formed silently between them. "Can I ask you something?" he said suddenly, his tone more serious. "Of course," she replied, a flurry of nerves dancing inside her. Would he pull back? Would reality seep in? He took a deep breath, as if gathering his thoughts. "With everything we've been through, and all the moments we've shared, I just want to be honest. Can you see yourself being part of Sofia's life and mine?" Time hung in the air like a thick fog. The question pressed against her like a tidal wave. Could she be enough? Could she truly embrace this new chapter? Maria nodded slowly, feeling warmth envelop her. "I want to. I really do." His face broke into a smile, one that made her heart leap. "Then let us do this together. Let us be a family that creates openly and loves deeply, no matter the chaos." All of her doubts began to melt away, replaced by the soft glow of hope. Yes, yes, let us do it. The night unfolded like a blooming flower around them, the stars twinkling outside as if cheering them on. They stepped out to greet the world, leaving behind the remnants of the past, while welcoming the possibility of a future intertwined. Over the coming days, laughter filled Richard's home. Maria painted rainbows with Sofia, each masterpiece a testament to their bond. They shared stories over meals and created moments that stitched them closer, a family learning to open their hearts together. Richard watched as his daughter blossomed, her laughter echoing through the halls like a symphony of joy, and it filled him with a profound sense of purpose. But the journey was not without challenges. News arrived that his company faced another setback, a financial storm cloud looming that threatened everything they had built. Richard felt the weight of pressure returning, threatening to suffocate the newfound happiness they had created. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, he found himself standing alone on the balcony, feeling the tension creep back in. Maria, sensing the change, approached him gently. "Hey, what is going on?" He sighed deeply, the reality crashing over him again. "I can feel everything slipping. The business is struggling. I don't want to let you or Sofia down." Maria stepped closer, her heart racing at the thought of losing their spark. "You won T. Together we can create something beyond what you've built. This isn't just about work, it's about family, love, and laughter. We're strong enough to handle this." The conviction in her voice ignited a flicker of hope in Richard's heart. Maybe the connection they had forged could withstand even the most formidable storms. He turned to her, eyes brimming with emotions. "You're right. We will face this together." In the days that followed, they held discussions, found creative solutions to the business challenges, and worked side by side to keep Sofia, a spirit bright. They nurtured each other's hopes, including dreams that had been buried beneath years of ambition. Through it all, Richard learned to balance the weight of responsibility with listening to the laughter of his daughter as Maria poured her love into their world, mixing creativity with resilience. And then, one crisp autumn morning, a softly shimmering moment arrived when Richard received a call, an investor interested in his company. Perhaps the storm had broken, and the sun would rise once again. But even before the call, he understood something profoundly important. The heart of the family wasn't just in finances or success, but in the connections they had built, the laughter they cherished, and the love they nurtured. That evening, Richard gathered Maria and Sofia in the living room. "I learned something today," he began, his voice steady. "Success isn't about money. It's about the bonds we create. And I want all of us to continue this journey together, no matter the ups and downs." Sofia's eyes sparkled brighter than ever. "Does this mean we can paint every day?" Richard chuckled, ruffling her hair. It means we'll paint every day and we'll create magic everywhere we go. Maria felt a rush of happiness. Unease and doubt had been washed away, replaced with love, determination, and the warmth of family. Their journey might be filled with uncertainties, but they would face them together, stronger, united, as they painted their dreams upon the canvas before them, colors mixing in joyous harmony. One thing was crystal clear. This was the beginning of a new chapter, where love triumphed over fear, and the light of hope illuminated every corner of their lives. Now, dear friends, this story is just one of many. You need to subscribe now to our channel for more adventures that will captivate your heart. Don't leave without hitting that like button. It fuels our creative journey. Comment below with your feelings and reactions to this inspiring Ending Your Voice Matters. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Let us spread joy together. Don't wait not even one more second.